This is Agnelo again, and I hope you're getting used to me. As we arrive at this episode, I hope that we're clear about NFTs and Metaverse. These are core concepts and necessary to get internalized actually. In this episode, we'll talk about some of the industry use cases. And typically we'll talk about identity and also talk about currency in the Metaverse. So let's get to identity first. Identity is very important in the Metaverse. We spoke about this earlier about avatar being your identity. Now, what are the challenges with identity today as they are offered to us by Web 2.0 systems? We had a brief example earlier where Facebook ID could be used to log in into a particular application. The challenge with centralized identities is that we are at the mercy of the platform owner. If they feel that they need to censor us, they will block us. If they block us, we cannot use their platform, that is true, but we've used their ID to log into other platforms, those are blocked. So it is important that there is something better than that. And something better than that really is something called a self-sovereign identity. New concept, right? But let me explain what it means. A self-sovereign identity is an identity that is owned by the user himself. He is the custodian of the identity and he can decide what to do with this identity. He can use the identity to log into multiple applications, right? Thereby reducing the dependency on a centralized application like Facebook or Gmail, let's say for example. Right? So self-sovereign identity is built in a manner that the user can hold his identity in his mobile device and then authenticate to systems through that identity without having to send that identity to any other place. So there potentially might not be a password there. Right? You would be able to log into a system by scanning a QR code. The application in which you are logging to just needs to know who you are, and that it knows because your mobile wallet will send something back to that system. Self-sovereign identity is a new application which has just started. Right? There are several platforms available today, but the use is restricted because there are not many applications that are kind of using this today. Now, what is the benefit of SSI or self-sovereign identity? Why would I use it? One key benefit, as I spoke earlier, is about you owning that identity. In Web 3.0, you own the content. SSI is an extension of that because now in Web 3.0, you can own your identity. Right? I'll explain to you the benefit with an example. Let's say you are going to a pub. The person at the pub needs to make sure that you are above a particular age. Let's say 18. What do? The first thing we do is we remove our driver's license and hand it over to the person at the door. Right? Now, the person at the door looks at your license and says, yes, you are above 18, you can enter. Good, everything is fine, you are happy. Correct? Everything is fine, you are happy. But did you know what you lost? You actually shared much more information that was needed with the person at the gate because he saw your exact date of birth, which you might say, oh, but he needed to ascertain my age. But you also gave away your address, which was there on that driver's license. Now think about a situation where you don't have to hand over the license to someone. You can flash your mobile phone to the person at the gate. Your mobile phone is displaying a QR code. The person at the gate scans that QR code and he just gets an answer yes or no, which indicates whether you're above 18 or not above 18. You get access to the pub, you are happy. You should be more happy because now you've not shared extra information that you were sharing earlier. This concept is true with several other credentials of yours, whether it is your school certificate, your college certificate, whether it is your employment letter, whether it is your financial account number, whatever that is, right? The idea is that you decide how much to share with whom to share. And that is, if you've heard this earlier and understood this, that is one of the core principles of Web 3.0, and that core principle is autonomy. Right? So that's about identity. It is important in the metaverse. In fact, it is important everywhere. But in the metaverse, it becomes even more important because now you have several more things associated to you in the form of NFTs, and you have a single identity to which all of this is actually tied. Hope you got this correct. Let me talk to you about one more thing, a second use case. In the second use case, I'll focus on currency and finance in the metaverse. Now, since you are in the metaverse and you are doing activities and transactions which are like real world activities and transactions, you pretty much know that you will need some kind of currency to operate inside the metaverse. So what is the currency in the metaverse? Fundamentally, the currency in the metaverse is crypto. A specific crypto? Not necessary. Each metaverse has its own crypto. Right? For example, Decentraland will have mana as a currency. Something else will have sand as a currency, and several such things. Could I use other cryptocurrencies in the metaverse? Yes, possible. Right? There would be somebody who will be accepting bitcoins, let's say, for example, and that is possible. So fundamentally, the currency in the metaverse is crypto. This brings me to a topic called CBDC. I'll explain what CBDC is and then tie it back to the metaverse. Right? CBDC is central bank digital currency. This is the currency that central banks in several countries use. Right? So for example, in the US, the currency is US dollar. In India, the currency is rupee. In Australia, the currency is Australian dollar. Right? And so on and so on and so forth. So today, currency is in paper format. Right? Which means we have bills. We have a dollar bill, we have a rupee bill. We give this bill to someone gives us change back. Okay? Central bank digital currency is about digitizing that currency. So what will happen is that instead of physical bills, you will have electronic tokens or digital tokens as we call them. Is CBDC a cryptocurrency? No, they are slightly different than cryptocurrencies. They are digital currency, but they are not as volatile as cryptocurrencies are concerned. Does CBDC have a play in the metaverse? Maybe, maybe not. Actually, both CBDC and metaverse are evolving concepts, correct? And these concepts will take time to evolve, and only future will tell us how it could be used. And that's why I say maybe, maybe not, really speaking. Okay, but the idea is this is how it will work. So let me also talk to you about two more concepts. One is DeFi, the other is MetaFi, and these are important to talk about because this is the finance that works in the metaverse. Correct? DeFi is a decentralized finance space, right? Everything that we do today in the real world, in terms of lending and borrowing, that is possible in the metaverse too, or in DeFi also, right? So DeFi is the same concept of lending and borrowing, except that there is no bank involved actually. There is no intermediary. Today, when you want to take a loan, you'll go to the bank and make an application to the bank, and the bank, on basis of your credibility, will lend you some amount basically. Right? In the DeFi world, there is no bank, there is no intermediary. Again, a principle of Web 3.0, peer-to-peer transactions. Okay. Then what is MetaFi? MetaFi is a modified version of DeFi inside the metaverse, right? Now, NFTs are of value, right? And NFTs can be given as collateral when you want to take a loan in the metaverse, correct? But there are some challenges in doing that basically. So the NFT or DeFi has to get modified a little so that DeFi can work in the metaverse to be called MetaFi. That is what MetaFi talks about, really speaking. So MetaFi is basically saying that you own so many digital goods, you can collateralize these digital goods and borrow some money. Right? That is what MetaFi is all about. So the idea is that if you start talking about metaverse and finances and currency, then you need to understand these few concepts that we spoke about over here. That will give you a fair idea of how this works. Because if you look at the real world today, the real world does not work without finance. Everything that we do in our lives, the central part of that is finance, money, right? So in the metaverse also you will require something like this, and this is what we talk about as far as the finances and currency involved in the metaverse. Don't forget to like, share and comment. As usual, I would love to see your comments and respond to them. Thank you.